all I can say is, last night I ate the whole thing of ribs, and they were spicy and sweet and brown sugary. And I woke up on the floor next to my bed, in between the couch and the bed, with my head on this hard plastic thing with a blanket only half on me. And that was before I was on that bed like halfway like this on my knees with the blankets kind of over me. I have a real hard time sleeping with my... Floor's wet. Ugh. I have a hard time sleeping with my dysfunction. You would too if you're... Hey, oh, you're all cockeyed. My bad. You would too if your arms fell out of the socket every time you went to bed. You'd be like, when is this gonna stop? We might have a little bit of pasta too. I'm really hungry. But take this right here. This is a tuna melt. And then we're just going to put a little cheese on top of it. And cook in the toaster oven on 350. Because toaster oven takes a lot less energy than a major oven. Yeah, that's one reason to get a toaster oven. They're really cheap, especially if you get them secondhand or go down by the college and get them for free. Those college kids throw everything away when they move. Yeah, they've been living too high, you know. And that's the truth for both of them. That was the truth for me, I guess, both times around. Wasn't until, well, I told you, yesterday was my 3-year mark of walking away from my home, saying I've had enough. I want to graduate college. I'm not going to prison. You know what I mean? I've had enough. That's the one thing about regular people don't understand about recovery, is I went to the drug court in 2007 and got out in 2008. But my strong recovery didn't happen until 3 years ago. When you guys read my book, you'll be like, oh, that's a good reason to quit. But anyways, there's many good reasons. What's really hard is on the family that doesn't understand that if somebody tries to go into recovery and starts working in recovery and goes through a program, and even if they relapse, right, you got to stand by them. You can't necessarily give them money, right, but you can give them food. You may not be able to let them in your house, but you need to leave the door of love open, because sometimes it takes people 5 years and 10 years of relapse and recovery to actually reach a point where they can step back into the community as a full community member, in the sense that they are done. They've made their way back home. So all you people think you can send somebody to Serenity Lane for 2 weeks, only reason why that works is you pay $6,000 for 2 weeks. You better get clean. You know what I mean? All these programs that are out there, they just give you tools. That's all they do. They allow you to look at yourself and give you tools. And 60%, I would say, are probably going to make it. Especially if they're not really hardcore drug users. But if they're hardcore, the truth is, 40% of those people are going to take 5 years to, you know, really get a good grip on their recovery. You know, that's why I wrote Dragon, you know, so you could do it a little faster. If I hadn't done my Dragon, I wouldn't be doing all this. I'd be sitting there bored, waiting for my money. I wouldn't be running. I'd probably not be walking, be stuck in a wheelchair, and probably be down to this by now. 3 years of not doing anything and just bumming and, yeah. But my Dragon, fight him, fight him, fight him, fight him. Alright, so I'm going to do the final little, actually I'm going to, this is really good. So I'm going to grab just a little bit for myself. Just a little bit. Because this is really for them. But the pasta looks really good. I mean, the sauce I made. And then when the young lady comes and gets it, so it's a nice look there, huh? And then I'm just waiting on my tuna melt. And which is working away. Take just a couple of minutes. So again, my email is ChefJohnErnst, JohnErnst, aka Thor, at yahoo.com. I figure most people can figure that out by now if you're watching my channel long enough. Or you can just send me something in the comment box if you'd like to help out this family. I talked to KMTR News, and they're probably going to pick up the story. And because, I mean, if you got a dead baby and you don't have $2,000, how do you afford a funeral? How? If you're poor and you live on food stamps, and you know, I'm gathering she was in labor, and then I don't know exactly for sure, but it's a brand new baby. I haven't asked. I don't want to ask. I figure she'll let me. I figure the young lady, Joy, or I'm sorry, Liz, will let me know information and as I need to know it. And I'm not really one to press on such issues because these are a very delicate nature. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for my tuna melt. So otherwise, you know, America, I'd like you to still keep hitting the links below. Maybe if I take my hat off, it'll stop, right? Maybe the hat was too heavy. Oh, my arms aren't out of the sockets, that's why. Ooh. Sheesh. I'm gonna do this one. Woo! I'm just waiting until that's done, and maybe I'll make them some Jello too. I got Jello. Make them some instant Jello. I'm still kind of tired, so I've been pushing myself really hard last week, and I'm gonna be careful with that. So we're just waiting on a tuna melt. And here it is. Driving wild and will drive you crazy. Yeah, when I was younger, I wasn't like this, you know. That's the truth. I was pretty self-centered. I would never volunteer. You had to give me community service. But I did community service at the National Creative Center for Nonviolence in the 80s. Mitch Schneider quit his job as a you know, making $40,000 back then. $40,000 was a good amount of money because you could buy a house for $80,000, $100,000, you know, in Montgomery County in that area. And he quit all that. He had a master's, and he went to the streets, and he started working with the street people and feeding them and giving them blankets. And then he'd been doing this for years, and he wrote a letter to Reagan about the labor building. And then he commenced to fast for 54 days. And on the 54th day, Reagan gave him the unused labor building as the National Center for Creative Nonviolence, and it houses all as many homeless families and people in Washington, D.C. area as possible. Because we were losing about 30 people during the winter. About 1 to 4 every night that it was below freezing. They would freeze to death on the street of Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. And people, citizens of this country, I don't care if you're crazy or if you're an addict, or I don't care what your problem is. There's no reason that any citizen in the United States of America should freeze to death in the nation's capital or anywhere, on the farms, in the little cities, by the river, it don't matter. All right, so there's my dinner. There's that. Got that ready. I'm going to cut some carrots up. I got some little baby cuties for the kids and maybe make some jello. Peace up. Chef John, Ghetto Gourmet. Want you to eat better in your home. Want you to have a better family. Want you to have a better neighborhood. I want you to have a better community. And what do we wind up having? Better country. Hit the links at the bottom. Peace and grace.